Hi everyone. So I just want to put all on one circle the multiples that we want to be good at visualizing. So basically it's the same as with degrees, but we're going to have those written in radians. So pi over 6s and pi over 4s are going to be the multiples that we want to be able to count out really well. So let's start with the pi over 6s, I guess. So if we start here at 0, we go, this is a pi over 6. And again, you can count that out. There should be 12 of these if you go all the way around. So that's pi, which means each of these little lines is a pi over 12. So we want to know that our ray would have to point here to get a rotation of pi over 6. And then we should just be able to count those off. So this is 2 pi over 6 out this direction, which is the same as a pi over 3. And then straight up, another 2 is going to be 3 pi over 6s, which is a pi over 2. So notice our pi over 2s get captured within this, our pi over 3s get captured within this. 4 pi over 6s would point out this direction, which is the same as a 2 pi over 3. So they're going to take a little more getting used to, but we're going to be pretty good at this by the end of the quarter. Okay, and then 2 more would be 5 pi over 6s. And then 6 pi over 6s is just a pi. And then 7 pi over 6s. And then 8 pi over 6s, which is 4 pi over 3s. And then 9 pi over 6 is a 3 pi over 2. A 10 pi over 6 is a 5 pi over 3. And 11 pi over 6. And 12 pi over 6, which is a 2 pi. Okay, so we should be able to count those out. And then notice along the way that we did get our pi over 3 sticking out here, our 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3 would be pi. Our 4 pi over 3 is down here, our 5 pi over 3, and then 6 pi over 3 is 2 pi. So we got our pi over 3s as well. So really we want to be able to do pi over 4s, pi over 3s, pi over 6s, pi over 2s, but some of those get caught along the way as we're doing this. Okay, so for pi over 4s, we need to go to the third, oops, didn't switch colors. Okay, 1, 2, 3, so right here. So this is a pi over 4, and then again, 2 pi over 4s actually hit something we've already covered. 3 pi over 4 is going to stick out right here. So notice they fall between the pi over 6 and the pi over 3 marks. 4 pi over 4s is going to be a pi. 5 pi over 4 is out here. 6 pi over 4 is your 3 pi over 2 mark. 7 pi over 4 is in the middle of quadrant 3. And then 8 pi over 4 is back to your 2 pi mark. So we want to get really good at being able to count off any of those. So we know how big a pi over 4 is, and we can count our way around, and we can say, where's my little highlight? Pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and figure out where we're at. And the same thing with like a pi over 3, where we would go, okay, 1, 2, 3 pi over 3, 4, 5, 6 pi over 3, and kind of be able to figure out where we're at. So again, I think on the homework at some point, maybe not in this section yet, but you'll draw this out on a unit circle for yourself. That's great, and you can kind of refer back to that, but you need to get to the point where you can just kind of picture where these are or count it out fairly quickly, so don't be relying on that. This is something we just need to be able to do without any help. Okay, thanks for watching.